The night pressed tighter around the tent. The fire was low now, only glowing embers giving off weak light. The soldier sat ready with his rifle, his eyes sharp on the tent flap. The alien girl hugged herself, rocking back and forth as though she carried a storm inside her chest. Her silver hair fell across her face, and her glowing skin flickered faintly like a candle about to go out. Outside, the forest growled. Shapes moved in the mist, slow and deliberate, testing the edges of the camp. The soldier's heartbeat was steady, but his senses burned like fire. Every second felt longer than the last. The girl whispered words in her alien tongue, her voice filled with fear. But there was also another sound inside her voice, a vibration, almost like a hum. The soldier tilted his head, realizing it was not just words, it was energy. Suddenly, the girl grabbed her arms, her fingers pressing against the glowing scars hidden under her sleeves. Her body shook, and her breath grew shallow. The soldier leaned closer, his voice firm. "What is happening?" Her glowing eyes lifted to him, filled with both fear and shame. "I cannot hold it," she whispered. The soldier frowned, his rifle still aimed at the door. "Hold what?" he demanded. Her lips trembled before she answered. "The mark. The power they want." Before he could ask more, the ground trembled. A shadow moved quickly past the tent wall, larger than before. The soldier raised his rifle, ready to fire, but then he felt something strange. The air inside the tent shifted, charged like before a lightning strike. The girl's body glowed, brighter, her skin almost too radiant to look at. Her hands burned with light, and the faint patterns on her arms began to shine. The soldier stepped back in shock, his rifle lowering for a second. "What are you?" he muttered. The girl shook her head, tears falling. "Not what I want to be," she said softly. The energy around her grew stronger. The fire bent toward her as if pulled by unseen gravity. The canvas of the tent shook lightly, and sparks floated in the air. Outside, the hunters growled louder, their voices mixing with the strange energy. They felt her power awakening. The soldier steadied himself, forcing his mind to stay calm. He had seen strange technology before, weapons that burned, cities, shields that bent bullets. But this was no machine. This was inside her. It was raw and alive. The girl's glow flickered again, weaker this time. She fell to her knees, clutching her chest as though the power inside was breaking her apart. The soldier knelt beside her, placing one steady hand on her shoulder. His voice came firm but quiet. "Listen, control it, not for them, not for fear, for yourself." The girl looked at him with wide eyes, her body trembled, the glowing marks racing with energy. Outside, the hunters howled together, the sound shaking the ground. They were closing in, their patience ending. The soldier's hand tightened on his rifle, his eyes never leaving the tent flap, but his words stayed with her, steady as stone. Then it happened. The hunters struck. The tent shook as claws ripped across the fabric, tearing it wide. Dark shapes lunged inside, their bodies twisted, their eyes red and glowing. The soldier fired instantly, the rifle roaring fire into the night. The first beast fell, its body crashing against the earth. But more came, their claws flashing in the dim light. The soldier fought hard, his rifle kicking back, smoke filling the air. But he knew he could not stop them all. Then the girl screamed. Her voice was not just sound, it was power. The tent exploded with light as her body released a burst of energy. The hunters were thrown back, their bodies crashing into the trees. With bone-breaking force, the fire roared brighter, sparks flying like stars into the sky. The soldier shielded his eyes, stunned by the strength she carried. When the light faded, the ground smoked and silence filled the air. The hunters were gone, scattered into the shadows of the forest. The girl collapsed to the ground, her glow fading, her chest rising with weak breaths. The soldier rushed to her side, his rifle still closed, but his hand steady on her shoulder. Her eyes opened slightly, soft and glowing faintly. "I did not want you to see," she whispered. The soldier studied her face, the scars, the marks, the power she had unleashed. He understood now why they hunted her, and why she had been afraid. "They want what's inside you," he said quietly. She nodded weakly, tears in her glowing eyes. "They make weapon," she whispered. The soldier's jaw tightened, his decision already made. "They won't take you," he said firmly. The girl's eyes widened at his words. Her lips parted as though no one had ever promised her safety before. For the first time, her fear softened into something else, trust. But outside, the forest stirred again. The hunters were not gone for long. The soldier knew this fight was only the beginning, and now, with her hidden power revealed, the night would grow far darker. The fire crackled softly inside the tent. Shadows danced across the canvas walls, making the small space feel alive. The human soldier sat on one side, his back straight, his rifle never far from his hand. On the other side, the alien girl sat close to the flames, her glowing skin shimmering with every flicker of light. Her silver hair caught the orange glow, shining like threads of fire. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was heavy, filled only with the hiss of burning wood. The soldier watched her carefully, every small movement of her hands, every shift of her eyes. She seemed tired, but there was something hidden beneath her quietness. Her gaze moved often toward the tent opening, as if she feared what waited outside. When the wind blew, carrying strange echoes from the forest, her shoulders stiffened. She wrapped her arms tighter around herself. The soldier noticed the thin fabric of her clothes. Unlike any armor or gear he had seen, it looked almost ceremonial, decorated with faint glowing patterns, not the clothing of a wanderer, but of someone important. That made his suspicion grow stronger. He finally spoke, his voice calm but sharp. "Who are you?" The girl raised her eyes slowly, her glowing pupils reflecting the firelight. For a long moment, she did not answer. Then, in broken human words, she whispered, "I cannot say." The soldier frowned. "Cannot, or will not," he pressed. The girl lowered her head, her hands tightening together. Her silence said more than words. She was hiding something dangerous. The soldier leaned back slightly, his instincts warning him. He had seen this look before. Soldiers, refugees, even spies. People carrying secrets always had that same expression. He did not like it, but he also saw fear in her eyes, real fear, not of him, but of something else. And that made his grip on the rifle a little tighter. The firelight revealed more details as he observed her. Her arms bore faint marks, like burns or scars, glowing faintly beneath her skin. The patterns looked unnatural, like symbols etched into her flesh. He had never seen wounds like that. When she noticed his eyes on them, she pulled her sleeves down quickly. Her breath caught for a second, as if afraid of being exposed. The soldier said nothing, but his suspicion grew deeper. Outside, the forest whispered again, the sound of something moving through the brush, too heavy to be the wind. The girl flinched, her eyes wide, her hand instinctively moved to her chest, as if guarding something unseen. The soldier noticed the gesture. She carried no weapon, no pack, yet she acted as if she protected something valuable. A secret, maybe an object, maybe herself. Whatever it was, the night outside seemed hungry for it. Finally she spoke again, her voice trembling. "They come." The soldier leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Who?" he demanded. She shook her head, her silver hair falling into her glowing eyes. "Hunters," she whispered, her voice cracked with fear, and her hands shook. The firelight flickered wildly as if the flames themselves reacted to her words. The soldier felt a chill, not from the cold, but from the truth behind her fear. Hunters. He had heard stories of alien tribes who tracked prey across the mountains, but this was different. The way she said it made it sound worse. Not simple hunters of animals, but hunters of people, of her. The soldier clenched his jaw. He should not care. She was not his problem, and yet, sitting in the dim light of the fire, He knew the night was no longer ordinary by letting her in. He had stepped into something far larger than himself. The girl leaned closer to the fire, her voice softer now. "You safe if I go," she whispered. Her words hit him like a stone, so she knew the danger she carried. She had tried to warn him, but the soldier shook his head. "Too late," he said simply. If her pursuers were already near, sending her away would change nothing. The fire popped loudly, sparks rising into the smoky air. The girl's eyes shimmered. With tears, her glowing skin reflecting the light, she seemed fragile in that moment, and yet he sensed a hidden strength. Something she fought to keep buried. Minutes passed in tense silence. The soldier's ears strained for every sound outside. The fire was both comfort and danger, warmth for them, but also a beacon for whatever hunted her. The girl's gaze stayed locked on the shadows at the tent opening. She whispered words in her own alien tongue, quiet prayers or maybe warnings. The soldier could not understand, but he felt the weight of them. The night pressed in tighter, the forest holding its breath, and in that flickering firelight, he realized the truth. This was no accident. She had come to his camp for a reason, and the hunters she feared were already closer than either of them wanted to believe. The forest outside was restless. The wind carried low growls that did not belong to the night birds. The soldier sat still, his hand tight around his rifle, his ears sharp to every whisper beyond the canvas walls. The alien girl sat across the fire, her glowing skin dimmed by fear, her silver hair falling across her face. She hugged her knees, her eyes locked on the entrance of the tent as though shadows might crawl in at any moment. The soldier leaned forward, speaking low. "What are they hunting you for?" The girl's lips trembled, but no answer came. Instead, she shook her head, eyes wet, and whispered in broken words, "If I speak, they find." The soldier frowned, his instincts sharp. It was not just fear that held her tongue. It was belief, a belief that words themselves might summon the danger closer. He had fought in many battles, seen enemies with strange tricks, but never this kind of dread. The fire popped loudly, and the girl flinched as though struck. Her eyes darted again to the forest, her chest rising with sharp breaths. The soldier followed her gaze, his eyes narrowing, and then he saw it, faint. Scratches on the fabric of the tent wall. Not from before, not from travel, but new, fresh. Shallow claw marks pressed into the canvas. He rose instantly, moving outside with his rifle ready. The cold wind hit his face, and the mist wrapped around him. The forest was alive with strange noises, leaves shifting, branches creaking, footsteps too careful to be the wind. He turned his head slowly, scanning the ground. His boots crunched on dirt and stone, and his eyes caught something near the trees. Tracks. They were not human footprints, nor from any beast he knew. The marks were deep, clawed, wide like hands but longer, sharper. They circled the camp like predators testing a cage. The soldier's jaw tightened, his rifle raised toward the fog. Whoever these hunters were, they had already found them. They were waiting, watching, behind him. The tent flap shifted. The alien girl stepped out, her body trembling as her bare feet touched the ground. Her eyes glowed faintly in the mist, and when she saw the claw marks, her face went pale. "They hear," she whispered. Her words were filled with certainty, not a guess. The soldier studied her, frustration in his voice. "Why you? Why do they want you?" The girl bit her lip, her hands curling into fists. She gave no answer. But he saw something flash in her eyes. It was not only fear, it was guilt. The soldier's instincts screamed louder now. He could not protect her if he did not know the truth. But before he pressed again, a sound split the silence. A distant howl, long and sharp, echoing through the trees. The girl's knees weakened, and she almost collapsed. Her glowing skin pulsed brighter as though reacting to the call. The soldier steadied her with one hand, his rifle still in the other. The howl was answered by another, closer, then another, 3, maybe 4, surrounding the camp in the mist. The firelight flickered behind them, small and fragile compared to the vast dark pressing in. The soldier dragged her back inside the tent. He lowered the fire so its glow would not spread too far. The girl sat down quickly, rocking back and forth, whispering in her alien tongue. The soldier caught only fragments of human words between them. Bound, mark. Take me. He glanced at her arms again, remembering the glowing scars, symbols, not wounds. Suddenly, it made sense. She was not only running from hunters, she was marked, branded in some way that tied her to them. He lowered his voice, firm but steady. You are not prey. Not here. If they come, I fight. The girl's eyes lifted, filled with shock. Her lips parted as if no one had ever spoken such words to her before. For a heartbeat, her glow brightened. Softer now, almost human. But the moment broke when another howl shook the forest, this time much closer. The ground itself seemed to shiver beneath the sound. The soldier tightened his grip on the rifle, his eyes sharp on the tent entrance. He knew the hunters were closing in. And whatever they were, they had patience. They wanted the girl alive, and they wanted him afraid. The minutes dragged heavy, the night stretching like an endless trap. Every sound outside was a blade at their throats. The soldier checked his weapon again, the metal cold against his hand. The girl whispered once more, her voice low but clear enough for him to hear. If you keep me, you will die. Her words were not a threat, they were sorrow. But the soldier's eyes did not waver. He had made his choice the moment he let her stay, whether she was victim or something more. He would face it with her, the forest outside. Shifted again, the growls moving closer. A shadow passed by the tent wall, huge and twisted. The girl clutched her chest, her body trembling with a strange light. The soldier raised his rifle, breath steady, eyes locked on the entrance. The hunters had arrived, and the night would not end without blood. The alien forest was quiet that night. Tall trees with glowing leaves stood like giants, and the wind moved softly through them. The human soldier sat near his small fire, the only light in the dark world around him. He was tired, his boots covered in dust, and his breath rose like smoke in the cold air. His tent stood behind him, simple but strong, glowing faintly from the heat of the fire. This was enemy land, and he knew danger was everywhere. He had been warned that these mountains were not safe. Strange beasts roamed at night, and some tribes hated humans. Still, he had no choice. His orders had forced him to take this path alone. Now, he could only wait and hope the night passed without trouble. The soldier sat with his rifle beside him. He listened to the forest sounds, the crackle of the fire, the whisper of the wind. But then he heard something different, a sound so soft it almost disappeared into the night. Footsteps, light but real, moving over stone and grass. His body tensed, every nerve on alert. Slowly, he reached for his weapon, his eyes scanning the darkness. At first, there was nothing, only the fog and the glowing plants far away. Then, through the mist, a shape appeared. It was small, moving carefully, almost afraid. The soldier raised his rifle, his finger near the trigger. The figure stepped closer, and he saw her clearly. It was a girl. Her skin gave off a faint light, soft teal like the glow of the alien moon above her. Hair shimmered silver and moved gently with the wind. Her eyes glowed, strange and bright, like tiny stars. She was not human. There was no doubt. The soldier froze, not sure whether to fire or wait. But the girl raised her hands, showing she carried no weapon. Her voice came, soft and shaking. Her words were broken human language, but he understood them. Cold, please. Fire. The soldier studied her carefully, his weapon still aimed. Aliens were dangerous, and he had been told to never trust them. But something about her voice felt real, almost desperate. The girl stepped closer, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Her body trembled in the night air. She looked weak, as if she had been walking for hours without food or rest. For a long moment, the soldier said nothing. He only watched her eyes, the way they flickered with fear. Finally, he lowered his weapon just a little. He pointed at the fire, giving her permission. Relief washed across her face, and she moved quickly. She knelt near the flames, stretching her hands toward the warmth. The firelight painted her silver hair in orange and gold. Her glowing skin shimmered like crystal under the flicker of the flames. The soldier kept his distance, his hand still near his rifle. He did not trust her, not yet. The girl closed her eyes for a moment, breathing slowly as the warmth touched her. Her shoulders relaxed, but she still looked around nervously. Her head kept turning toward the trees, her ears straining. The soldier noticed this, and his instincts grew sharper. He knew she was not just a lost traveler. Something was chasing her, something dangerous. The forest wind carried strange sounds, distant but real, a low growl, a branch snapping, the faint hiss of claws over bark. The girl flinched each time, her body shaking harder. The soldier's eyes narrowed. She was hiding something, and it was coming closer. Finally she spoke again, her words halting but clear. "Please, let me stay. Only tonight." The soldier's grip tightened on his rifle. He looked at her, then at the dark trees around them. He could send her away and be safe, or he could let her stay and face whatever hunted her. Her glowing eyes met his, filled with fear and something else, something unspoken. For a moment, the night felt heavier. The fire crackled louder, and the shadows seemed to move. The soldier made his choice. He nodded slowly, his voice calm but firm. "Stay. But no tricks." The girl lowered her head, whispering something in her own alien tongue. Her voice trembled with relief, and her hand stretched closer to the flames. The human soldier sat back, watching her closely. Her presence filled the tent with mystery. She looked fragile, but the fear in her eyes told another story. Outside, the night grew darker, and the strange sounds in the forest grew louder. The soldier did not know it yet, but by allowing her into his camp, he had invited a storm, and when the storm came, neither fire nor rifle would be enough.